Hold on.
Chapter, okay. You go. Chapter 9 of the film art is about genre, and genre is the theme. It's usually classifiable into Western, horror, and the musical, especially in the Western world. And genre is depicted usually through iconography. So what will happen is like, for example, the Western genre, it is usually movies that depict the kind of struggles that existed between the West and the natives, especially when they came to take over new lands. So the iconography in Western genre is the cowboy hats and the sophisticated weaponry that they would use to show the might of the West. In the horror movies, usually they would use iconography like scary equipment, scary masks. If you look at the Dracula of the 1930s, the iconography was a very scary face, a monster sort of thing. Eh? And in the musicals are friendly. Musicals are usually, the iconography of the musical films will be like sexy costumes, children colors, bright colors, pink colors for the females. And so in short, genre is the theme. That is how movies are classified. If you go to a public library and you want to borrow a DVD, that's how they're classified, even the musicals, horror, and stuff like that. So genre is cultural sensitive. So sometimes the horror of the 1930s is not the horror of 2010. So when you go to, you see the movies classified, they also classify them with time. And the iconography has changed as well. So what was used to depict horror those times is not the same as what depicts horror now. Thank you.
Okay, so I did chapter 10 of the book Film Art, an introduction, and chapter 10 talked about documentary, experimental films, and animated films. And documentary films, these are the types of films that explain, I guess, sometimes real life events, and you just have to try and figure out what exactly the film is trying to tell you. And for documentary films, there are two types. There's the categorical type, which basically conveys information in a simple form, and then there's the rhetorical type, which makes an argument that will convince the spectator. And for the rhetorical forms, there are three types of arguments. There is the argument about the subject matter, then there's the subject center, which basically focuses on the subject, and then there is the viewer center, which tries to appeal to the viewer's emotion. And for experimental films, those are films that employ abstract or associational formal patterns, and there are two types of that too. There's the abstract and there's the associational, like I mentioned. And associational just tries to draw on poetry or things like that. And for the last type of films, the animated films, this ones present narratives, convey documentary information, or experiment with the medium. And movies like most Disney movies are usually animated films. For example, The Lion King, Cinderella, Princess and the Frog. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, I'm Rachel. I do chapter 11 this week. Chapter 11 is film criticism, sample analyze. This chapter enhanced me that it is sharing about the classical narrative cinema, narrative, alternative to classical filmmaking, documentary form and style, form, style, and ideology. Moreover, it also shares how to write a critical analysis of a film. This chapter seems to show something about writer's job, but as a cameraman, it empowers my production group about some examples about how to make films more organized and crisp. As a cameraman, I think how to make the film looks more critical is the important point in this chapter. It helps cameramen to take good shots and to write a film analysis. This chapter surprised me that without the journal framework, it cannot build up the analysis. Thank you.
The chapter I'm reviewing is chapter 12, Film Art. This chapter has enhanced my knowledge on film through the historical aspects involved in filmmaking and the creation of movies. Film is what it is today because of the past experience it has gone through. I also learned different views of film in different countries during the past and their ideas on film creation. In addition, I learned many different styles from filming. Some examples are German Expressionism, contemporary Hong Kong cinema, New Hollywood and independent filmmaking, and many others which played an important role in the history of film. The chapter will allow my production crew on the film we produce in this course because it will allow our group to have a deeper understanding of different styles of filmmaking. The history behind film is very interesting, and learning different styles and genres allows us to experiment with different ideas during our creation of the film. This chapter will help my role as a producer by organizing and understanding our film. The film will have different takes, and our group can use different styles of previous filmmaking techniques to allow us to experiment and try new ideas. But I'll say it again. Something I discovered is about the history and the stages of film and how it evolved over the years. The history of film is very interesting, and learning about the history of film is a great asset to talk about, and it's a good general understanding tool for this age of technological advancement. Thank you.